Operators are symbols which specify which operation to perform in an expression. For instance, in 1 plus 1, the plus is an operator, or 10 minus 2, the minus is an operator. But also in if number of orders is greater than order limit, greater than is an operator. In this lesson, I'll show you the various types of operators in the C# language. Arithmetic operators, logical operators, increment operators, relational operators, assignment operators, ternary operators, and the null coalescing operator. So let's get started with the easy ones first. Let's say you have two numbers. First is 11 and second is 4. And we can then print them out. For instance, what is the sum of the first number plus the second number? Like this. Added equals this. So first plus second. And when we look at it, no surprises, 11 plus 4 is indeed 15. I'm doing Control-C, Control-V, subtracted, first minus second, is indeed 7. I'm doing Control-C, Control-V, multiplied, that is the star, is indeed 44. I'm doing Control-C, Control-V, divided, I'll wait for it, is indeed 2. Or is it? Actually, 11 divided by 4 is 2 point something. Why didn't it show that? The reason is because an integer divided by an integer yields an integer. So what we have to do is change these, for instance, to doubles. And try it again. And we see indeed that 11 divided by 4 is 2.75. Another very useful operator is mod, or remainder, which works like this. Remainder, and it is the percent sign. So the remainder of 11 divided by 4 is what? 4 times 2 is 8. It would be 3, and it says indeed 3. So those are the arithmetic operators. Now let's do the logical operators. Equals, and or. So for instance, let's say we have a Boolean variable tank is full, currently false, and we have a Boolean variable water is on, which is false. Let's say here at the beginning, and we can say things like this. If the tank is full and water is on, then say turn water off. So tank is full and water is on is false, false. It will not say turn water off. And it indeed does not. If, however, both of these are true, or if one is true, it will also not say this. But if both of them are true, it will indeed say that. That's how and works. Or is similar. Tank is full, or these are pipe. That's called the pipe, a double pipe. Water is on, then if tank is full or water is on, then, for instance, do not leave the premises. So what will happen here? Tank is full, true, and water is on, true. It will display both of these. And it indeed does. If this one is false, and this one is false, then it will display neither of them. And that's how and or work. The not operator is also very useful, which is an exclamation mark. So if I copy that, I just did Control-C, Control-V, by the way, for copy and paste. And I can say here, if tank is not full and water is on, then, let's see, if tank is not full and water is on, then leave water on would be the most logical thing to do. So because this is false and false, we will not see this. And indeed we do not. But if tank is full, false, water is on, true, then this will evaluate to true. If tank is not full and water is on, and indeed it does, leave water on and do not leave the premises. So we have all of this logic working together. The increment operators are next. Increment operators are plus, plus, and minus, minus. Let me show you how to use those. Let's say you have an array of strings, some files, equals new array, test text, settings, text, and setup, exe. There you have these 3 items in your array, and you want to display them with a for each. So you say for each file in files, and you simply write it here like this. You will indeed see all of the files. There they are. Now, let's say we want to also put 1, 2, and 3 here while going through the for each loop. We would have to make a counter. We'll call it count, and it starts out at 1 before the loop. And we then add it to what we're printing here. So the first variable is going to be count, and the second variable is going to be file, and we display it, and they are all 1s. Why is that? Because we're not incrementing them. And that is why we need to have the plus plus operator. So now it increments. Notice also that we don't even need to put it here. We can put it where we're accessing the variable, like this. And it still works. Notice also that you can increment it beforehand, like this, which in this case produces an undesirable effect, but you see what it can do. It increments before it is used. We want to actually increment afterwards, like this. And of course, minus minus will also work. We would need to start with the number of files. So this would be if you want to count backwards, for instance. So int count equals files length, which is 1, 2, 3. And then each time we're going to subtract 1, and we see that it goes from 3 to 1. Next are the relational operators. These are equals, does not equal, is less than, is greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. And you use them like this. If first is greater than second, then say yes. What was first actually? 11, 4. 11 is greater than 4, it'll say yes. And it does indeed say yes. And you can use all of those to experiment with those. Another group are assignment operators, which work like this. If you display, for instance, first, and then say first equals first plus 1, and display it again, you will get 2 different values. Let's see if we indeed get 2 different values. Yes. Now you can also express this with plus equals 1, and it does the same thing. Plus equals 2 would add 2, etc. Minus equals works. 11 to 9, and for instance, multiply equals works as well. So 11 times 2 is 22. But that's not all. You also get 2 other operators in C#, the ternary operator and the null coalescing operator, both of which can reduce many lines of code to 1 line, and so they're good to learn. So first, the ternary operator. Let's first do it the old way, or the way that causes you to type out the logic in a number of lines. We have an x level equals expert here, and a Boolean whether or not we should show notes. And we want to say here, if level equals expert, then show notes equals true. Otherwise, or else, show notes equals false. So let's display this, the result of this decision. Show notes equals this, which is show notes. So level equals expert, so show notes will be true, and we run it, and indeed show notes is true. Now the ternary operator allows you to express this all in 1 line. First we'll comment all of this out. I'm doing Control K C. The ternary operator works like this. Show notes equals, and now we want a value. The value is determined by level is equal to expert, or the result of level is equal to expert. If that's true, then show notes should be true. If that's false, then show notes should be false. And so let's look at it. Level is indeed expert, so level is indeed expert, so show notes will be true. We run it, and show notes is indeed true. If we change it, or change this to beginner, and run it again, show notes is indeed false. Let's review this again, because once you get the ternary operator, you'll use it all the time. Show notes equals either true or false. It will equal true if this statement is true. It'll equal false if this statement is false. And note that you can put anything in here. So you could be assigning, for instance, a string to this value or this value depending on this expression. Very useful. And the last operator, which is like the ternary operator, is called the Null Coalescing operator, which does something similar. And it'll assign a variable to the value of another variable, unless that variable is null. And then it'll assign the variable to another value. Let me show you how that works. We have, for instance, a title, and that title is Mysteries of Link. Now, we have a title to order equals title. And let's write title to order out to the screen. And what are we going to get? We're going to get Mysteries of Link. And indeed we do. Now, this variable title could be null. And if it is null, I want title to order to be title missing. And so I do this here. String title to order equals title. But if it's null, then assign it title missing. So let's run it again, and we'll still get Mysteries of Link because title is Mysteries of Link and not null. And that is exactly what happens. But if indeed string title equals null, title to order will be assigned title missing. And indeed it is. So those are pretty much all the operators you need to know in C#. If you're coming from another language, you probably notice much similarity here. But one tip, make sure you spend some time to internalize the ternary operator so that you can use it quickly and naturally, because it'll make your C# code much more concise and readable.